Good afternoon, I'm Olivia Otieno. This is Double O Direct every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on 94.4 SpiceFM, streaming live, standardmedia.co.ke. I'd also like to welcome everyone watching on KTN News. I'm with a woman who needs absolutely no introduction, but it is my privilege to do so. The iconic, the globally recognized PR maven, Gina. Welcome to Double O Direct.
Thank you for such a wonderful introduction. Such a pleasure to be here, finally.
I have wanted this for years.
And I know we've talked about it as well, so I'm glad we're both here, both managed to make the time, and I'm excited for the conversation.
When your book came out, Daughter of Africa, I shed a tear.
Oh, that's nice.
I shed a tear and I went looking for it. I got a copy. Then my sister came in from Canada and took it.
Oh, okay. Is she enjoying it?
She loves it.
Good.
She absolutely loves it. She's been a big fan for many, many years.
Oh, nice.
Then I went round to look for it again, and it was so hard to find.
Yeah, it was sold out pretty fast.
That is a testimony to how powerful the content within Daughter of Africa is.
I think so. I mean, I think it's, a story that resonates with many women because it's not unique to me. I just happen to be the one that sat down to write the story. But I do think we have so many incredible stories amongst so many women on the continent. So I hope the book will be a bridge to getting more women to write.
For me, I know you as a woman who has achieved so much in business, a woman who has impacted lives through her work in PR.
Thank you.
And also a woman who has shown us that you can have a family life and a business life and a life that's caring for the community at large. I would like to start off with Gina Din, pre-Gina Din PR, and understand who the woman who created this amazing company was growing up.
So, as you probably read in my book, I was born in Nanyuki, grew up, spent very happy and magical childhood, went to school in Limuru, hated every single minute of it, wasn't a good student, went on to do journalism, and then joined Barclays Bank, where I created and headed the PR department of the bank, and did that for 14 years, and which I absolutely loved. I was very young. I was quite surprised that they gave me the authority and the autonomy that they did, but they did. And I was able to, to make Barclays a really incredible brand. So that was my background before I started my business.
Your experience whilst in the UK studying, a lot of Kenyans have the hope to study abroad. Some have gone, some have not. And now the doors are opening for more and more Kenyans and more young women to have that experience. As a woman who grew up in Nanyuki, surrounded by relatively close family and friends, what was the experience like to leave the nest, so to speak?
So it was always expected. I mean, I knew that I have 3 older sisters, and so I knew that my turn would come. They all went to Europe. I went to the UK. And it was great. I mean, I loved every minute of it. I still absolutely love London, know London very well. And so I enjoyed it. I enjoyed meeting lots of different people from many different countries. And London is such an incredible melting pot. And I fitted right in.
Your time at Barclays, an iconic brand, hugely phenomenal, successful business, coming out of university and joining the bank here. What were some of the perceptions you had of working for such an organization? Because up until then, you'd had the relative security of working, so to speak, in a family setting.
Sure. Well, it was very interesting because I had never really thought that I'd end up working for such a big brand. But I did, and it was actually interesting because there weren't very many women in management at that time, and they definitely weren't many role models that were women. So, a lot of my role models at that time were men who were incredible and who really midwifed me getting into corporate. But I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I loved being able to create and the bank were very, very brave in allowing me that space.
Wonderful. Understanding your upbringing, having been born in Nyanyuki, there were some remarks when your book came out with the title Daughter of Africa. Is she really African? And there were a lot of question marks around that title. What do you have to say to that?
Why? I'm African. I mean, you know, my mother, my grandmother, and I were born on this continent. But either way, I think Kwame Nkrumah puts it very well when he says, you know, I'm not African because I was born in Africa. I'm African because Africa was born in me. So, so that's very much. And you know, I think I represent the diversity of the continent. The people that look like me, there are people that look like you. So yeah, I think it doesn't really bother me because I know what I am. It's not what people say; it's how you respond to what people say, and I'm totally comfortable. And I'm very, very clearly a daughter of Africa.
I've had the fortune to read your book, but I'd like to take the angle of someone who has not yet, because otherwise there'll be too many spoilers. So, with regards to your professional ethos, ethics, even drive, how much of that has been influenced by your family?
A lot in my journey as an entrepreneur. I mean, my parents were both entrepreneurs. I'm from a family of entrepreneurs. My sisters all have been running their own businesses. But, you know, I was very fortunate to spend a lot of time with my father. And he was a huge influence in teaching me how to run a business. Even though it was a family business, you know, some of the what he taught me stayed with me when I ended up having my own business. And my own business is very much a family business as well. It was, you know, it was us, but it was also very much us creating a family for many other people. And so I took all those lessons with me.
At what point during your time at Barclays did you decide, I like this, I've been privileged to be here, but it's time for me to follow in the footsteps of my family and become an entrepreneur? How did that come about?
It was really interesting because every year I would get promoted, I'd get a new title, I'd get more money, but I was not a banker. And so there was never a point that I was going to run Barclays Bank. That was clear. And I wanted to be, I wanted to get to the top of my game, and I wanted to do something for myself. I had two very young children at the time, and I was under this perception that I was going to leave and suddenly have more money and have more time. And it turned out that initially I had neither. But I did end up not only creating a brand for myself, but creating an industry, not just for Kenya, but for the continent. I'm very proud of the work that we did.
Your first client, your former employer.
Yes, I was very fortunate that Barclays became my anchor client. And so I was pretty much doing what I was doing for them in-house, but now as a consultant. And so I was very, very lucky that, I had a 3-year contract, and that paid my bills while I started hustling for other clients. But it was interesting to now be on the outside and be able to be a lot more objective and to see the brand with a fresh set of eyes and be able to say, oh, actually, I think we could do things differently. So it was a great experience. But then I went straight on to, many other clients after that. And within the first year, I think we were very busy, very, very busy.
It's no secret the number of accolades that you won in your field. They've been told many, many times.
Sure.
Now in the digital era. Were there any that surprised you? Or you look upon and say, wow, we deserve that because we really did put in a lot of work on this?
I think it's very exciting to win awards. We had won a lot of awards in Kenya. But I think it's when you start competing on the global stage and you start getting recognized for your work globally, that's when it's very exciting. But people see the awards and they see the finished product, but they don't realize what goes on to get that finished product. And so I'm always very grateful to the people on my team that work so hard so that we could actually compete globally. And I'm so proud of the work that we've done, really. So sitting in New York one day at an event for a global award, and I'm just sitting there and I'm trying to take it all in. It's pretty exciting stuff.